Alright, as we are gonna roll straight into this first one, we are here on the caster desk with Stu, being myself, and Issy. A little bit of a rare viewer, but I think you guys have starting to getting used to him, as we are gonna roll straight into this ABD versus JJT game. And it's an interesting game going forward. You know, both of these teams, ABD, are kind of in a sweet spot where now they're pretty much just playing for their seeding. They're just figuring out where they're going to end up and how this playoff situation is going to end up, whereas JJT really kind of need this win more than ABD. It will definitely be interesting to see how these teams match up as you see the preliminary bans coming out, but JJT really do need this one, sitting at 2 wins currently. There are Cease, who has the potential to get 2 wins coming out of this game. DN is sitting at 2 wins. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull out this win. This win will mean that they have a much easier time. Maybe just have to play tiebreaker for 5th place or something along those lines, rather than having to play a tiebreaker for 6th place. So we'll have to see how it goes, as a lot of these bans are pretty standard coming out. You can see the red side ban for Nocturne, pretty common these days, whereas
and Vayne.
Yeah, Vayne as well, directed towards the ADC of JJT, who's had a very strong performance on Vayne in the past, and even picked it against, who did he pick it against? He played it against Cease and then someone else, I can't remember at the top of my head, but he had a very strong performance on it. It's not looking to take that away. And meanwhile, on the side of JJT, really target banning away just pretty much what they could see, what it seems like on the match history of ABD. Ziggs and Kalista has been a little bit of play from Dilly, whereas the Diana has had some strong performances from Poseidon. So we'll have to see what they're going to opt for, and it will be B1 Thresh. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, Thresh is a strong champion though. Like, you can go into a lot of comps if you play correctly, but it's also the thought of, can he play correctly? So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and a strong response from ABD, just instantly locking in the Ezreal, another one of Dewey's comfort picks, and as well just being a strong champion in the meta currently, along with the Viego as well. Another strong champion. Yeah, that's due for some nerfs next patch, but unfortunately for JJT, it is not next patch just yet, as ABD are able to snipe that one up, and it looks like they're going to pair the Thresh with an Ashe. A little bit of an interesting combination. You don't see Ashe too much in the meta currently. She just doesn't really have what the meta currently favors, so we'll have to see if JJT have a specific draft that they are trying to pull together.
Cleanse just does too well into any Ashe comp. Like, it's too easy for an ADC just to build Cleanse and counter whatever an Ashe wants to do.
Yeah, it is definitely a problem for her, and we'll have to see how JJT want to fix it, as it will be the Mordekaiser. This could be for Zed. He has had some performances on it before. It looks like it is a placeholder though. The Mordekaiser is Orin, which is something that Zed is a lot more accustomed to, as he will be playing weak side warrior. Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
He had to pick it away from Rave. You know, both of these players being very notorious Orin players in the past in the KDL. So one of them getting the better of each other, as Kawhi gets his signature Nautilus as well, and we'll have to see what these bans are going to look like going forward for both of these teams. You know, ABD have their bot lane ready to go, and most likely their jungler. They could flex that Viego into the mid and top lane, but they tend to not, so I would assume that is going towards the jungle. And
I can see a Maokai ban coming out here. You never want to see that R5 Maokai, you know.
It's sort of a power pick. It's just a little bit hard to deal with.
They ban out the Gwen. I guess Gwen is a really strong champion in the meta right now, especially if you have if that Viego is either going, I don't know if it's going mid or jungle, but like when you have an AD threat like that, having an AP threat like Gwen is also pretty strong. Does a lot of damage and has a lot of sustain.
Yeah, it's interesting to see though that JJT did opt to ban it, as Rave has been one of the most vocal opponents of Gwen, saying she's an awful champion. She only gets just lucky wins, so it's a little bit of an interesting ban. Maybe they assume that Rave has changed his ways.
Also interesting that they banned Set, since I've not seen Rave. Has he played Set? I haven't seen him play Set.
He's played it in the past, but not recently. I don't think he's played it in this season, but he has played it in past seasons, so
yeah.
Maybe digging a little bit deep to see what kind of tech they're going to bring out. As speaking of tech, this could potentially be a Lilia top. I know Rave was talking about it from the rework, or the mini rework,
I know he's been talking about playing it. He's a lot about playing that Lilia top lane, so hope we see it today.
We could see it, as LeBlanc is picked away for JJT. A little bit more of an aggressive pick for the mid laner. We tend to not see him on anything too aggressive, but it looks like he's going to pick up the LeBlanc. and is going to try and pressure Penelope and get an advantage inside of the lane. As JJT do have their last pick here, they're just mowing it over, trying to pick
See
up
what they
their
get in the
jungler.
jungle. Well, the problem from them here is they don't know if it's Lilia jungle, Viego jungle, or something else jungle because they both could go online, and they opt to pick the Warwick, which I guess is good into Viego. It's not bad, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, it's definitely an
CC is
interesting
always
pick.
good.
Yeah. As well as the damage reduction on Warwick's E does help him sort of engage fights, as
Yeah.
JJT are kind of missing the ability to do that. They do have the Ornhorn and they do have the Thresh, as the Cassidy is locked in. Very interesting, as I think this might be the first time it's been played in KDL this season so far, I should say. As I will
Cassidy's
have to
been
see.
not been in a good place, I think, lately. It's really not that strong. It's too slow.
Yeah.
But if they can play the early game right with Lilia, Viego, and Nautilus, it could work out.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of scary because they have a Cassidy, which kind of loses a lot of lanes, and they have, I don't know about the Lilia, if that's a winning lane or a losing lane, because I haven't seen it top lane yet, so I don't know. And then they have an Ezreal Nautilus bot, which is like, I think they will be like a losing lane because Ashe just has so much pressure early game with the W, and you have the threat of Thresh hook at all times. So this might be hard for the jungler to play if the lanes go as I expect them to go.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting as we see some interesting bans coming out from both sides. I think we see a Terra ban on the side of ABD. And
And
then
an ABD XD, but just the wrong way. No.
a backwards ABD
No, wait.
XD. Or it could be something else. No,
What?
it's for sure
No.
backwards ABDX. That's a little bit tragic, but interestingly enough, is a little stat fact that we have due to checking the stats nowadays. ABD actually has the second longest game in KDL Season 5, which I think it being like 35, 36 minutes, something like that, with GME just beating them out by a minute. So ABD actually do have their games on average tend to go longer than a lot of the other teams. So this Cassidy pick can work exceedingly well for them if the game does go long like they plan it to. And
Yeah, it's the only thing that's scary about that is the LeBlanc. If the LeBlanc gets ahead and plays well, then she can take over the game. But other than that, I don't see the game. Like, I don't see any stomp lanes or picks in this comp. Maybe Warwick. I don't even know. I don't even think Warwick's that stomp champion.
Yeah, it's definitely
We'll
not.
see how that
Warwick
goes.
kind of is a little bit of a snowball champion where he kind of goes even as he's just hovering here on the Thresh. Thank you, who? As Warwick is like that snowball champion where he does kind of go even in the farming and he can farm decently well, but he really wants to start getting kills and start chasing people around the map with his passive and just running them down and getting kills and then snowballing that way. So it's interesting to see how they're going to facilitate that happening. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a level 2 gank on Cassidy in the mid lane or like a 3 camp into mid gank. They really need to shut this Cassidy down, as Cassidy is just such a safe ship to put your bets on. If Cassidy doesn't get behind in lane, it's just allowed to free farm. So it's a little bit of a question for JJT that they sort of need to answer.
Now, how do you feel about the Nautilus into the Thresh? As a Thresh connoisseur.
As a little bit of a Thresh player myself, as a Thresh matchup, this pretty much means that you're going to be on the back foot, as you have to save your Flay for the Nautilus engage in order to stop him from going forward. You can offensively engage on top of the enemy ADC, but it is Ezreal, so it's very hard to hook a good Ezreal if he just plays around his Arcane Shift and plays smartly. So we'll have to see how Dewey plays this, as him and Kawhi's playstyle on the bot lane is going to dictate how it goes. As now we are going to go ahead and load into the Spectator delay. We'll catch you guys in 3 minutes once it has caught back up. Don't go anywhere, you are watching the KDL.
There's no time for redemption. Those flags you wave, will they hold up? Don't cry for your vengeance. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. So go and bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down. It's your history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive.
Alright, we'll go ahead and welcoming you guys back. We are still loading into the game, so don't worry, you're not going to miss anything as we just go ahead and load into the game. But we did have some interesting drafts come out from both of these teams. I think even Who has talked in the past a little bit about ABD should be just a clean and easy game for them, so we'll have to see if that is true for them. He said that, I believe his words, and not to quote him, was that it was going to be a stomp in favor of JJT, so let's hope that it can go that way, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to live up to that talk that he talked about earlier.
And I know in response, ABD has always talked about four-manning Who bot lane. Not even gonna go for the ADC, just gonna four-man gank and kill him. But we'll see if they stand true to their word or not.
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot on the line here for JJT to prove. I think they started out the season pretty weak. They were following the likes of INS with going with 0 wins, but we're able to pick up a nice little 2 wins going forward coming into these set of games that they're going to play today versus ABD and versus Dab Nation. So we'll have to see how they're looking to perform as okay, Poseidon. Don't freak out too much there. And they're definitely going to need to pick up at least 1 win today to have a nice stable position going into playoffs.
Indeed, indeed. So they're 2-4 right now, right?
2 and 3, I believe.
2 and 3.
Check. Yep, 2 and 3 with Dab Nation being 2 and 4.
Okay, so they have the chance to be. If they win both games today, they will tie it with ABD for
Nope,
third,
they'll
right?
actually be a place ahead of them because ABD will have more more losses.
Okay.
So
Interesting,
a lot on the line. If a perfect world happens today for JJT, they could just shoot up the rankings. So there's definitely a lot on the line for them. But even if they do end up losing this game or win versus Dab Nation or vice versa, it is still a good position for them in order to secure their playoff seeds. As Rave Rave opted for the Conqueror. It's a little bit of an interesting build. I know you mentioned in the chat, but we do have 3 Conquerors on the sides of ABD. So they really do want these fights to go longer and extended. And it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how this Lilia goes because I've heard so much about it and I haven't seen it yet, so it'll be fun to see how it does.
Yeah, it's definitely, I remember when Lilia dropped of old, when she first dropped as a new champion, I think people did actually play her in the top lane quite a lot before they really situated her place as a jungler. And before, she was just very annoying in lane, just a lane bully, but wasn't really able to transfer her power out of lane. So we'll have to see if it's the same sort of setup, or Rave just wanted to pick this up to be a lane bully into this Ornn and kind of negate him the ability to scale.
Yeah, no, it feels like a good champion into Ornn because it has a lot of burn HP damage, and it also is pretty light on, she's pretty light on her feet, so it's pretty easy to dodge those Qs and knockups and W's. As we see the hook into the Ashe, trying to go for the early level 2 skirmish, getting a good lead on that.
Yeah, and that is coming just firmly in favor of ABD, who was able to do the flay to cancel the initial auto from Nautilus, but he was able to walk back up on top of that Ashe, and it is going to cost her potion, which is quite unfortunate. You know, you really should respect the level 2 being a bot laner. I think pretty much everyone knows the importance of it. So it's a little unfortunate that it didn't end up going that way, but it's not unreferable, as Ornn here getting a nice little trade on top of this Lilia, and just all 3 of these lanes is looking to farm as the junglers are farming as well. You can see Poseidon is pulled together a slight little camp advantage. It's sitting at 1 camp ahead of Warwick currently. And we'll
The
have
Warwick
to see.
skipped the Krugs, and now we will probably see a skirmish for the Scuttler if the Warwick decides to go for it. No, it looks like he's doubling back for the bot lane Scuttle and just says, hey, I can't fight this Viego, so I'm gonna go for the bot Scuttle.
Yeah, what a bit of interesting pathing, because if you do intend to just give up the scuttle straight away, then maybe you should have started topside and path downwards, so that way you don't have to do this awkward walking around where you have to.
It looked like he
waste a
actually
lot of time.
went to the Krugs, but changed last second and went to the Scuttle.
Yeah,
But it's,
yeah.
I don't know, the jungle pathing here seems very
Oh
suspicious.
no. If you notice here, you know, Orin is just such low HP with Lilia and a fat wave coming under the tower, and Poseidon shows as well. This is going to mean a dive. Lilia starts tanking. Poseidon is going to go forward. Lilia drops her tank as Poseidon is here looking like he wants to get out, and he is going to be able to do so, having to blow his splash, but it's a nice little first blood for ABD.
I think he did well by knocking up the Viego, but I think maybe if he flashed to the other side of the turret, that could have gone better. But we see them picking up the first blood in the top lane, and on a champion like Viego, that's very scary.
Yeah, and in the mid lane we can see that although LeBlanc is kind of bullying this Cassidy and getting him very low HP, she is low on top of that mana, so she will have to back and reset soon.
Yeah,
Cassidy does
but
have a nice little mana storage for himself.
I guess that's why you run TP on LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Just back and get mana. I don't know.
As something as
Oh.
Ash here was stepping too far forward, the TP is instantly channeled from Rave. Not even sure if this is required. This should just be an easy kill, and it will be going the likes of Dilly. And a nice little TP there from Rave, but it is not going to mean too much. And that does mean that the top lane is going to equal out a lot more, as Orin is going to be able to manipulate the wave in such a way that it's going to try and punish Rave, as who's also doing his best to punish Rave, as he just kind of walks along here in the mid lane. Is it going to Q it? No. Oh, he resisted the urge. I would not be able to do that, as he's going to run top lane.
It seems like they didn't opt to go for the dragon even though it was pinged, but I understand Poseidon was in base, so he couldn't have been there, and they had vision over it, so.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. As we can see, speaking of vision, we do have a pink ward here in the control pit for ABD, so it looks like they're going to try and go for that soon. As you can see, the first item already came out for Viego and this Ezreal, already getting the nice little first power spikes, as Warwick and LeBlanc here have yet to back. And we can see a nice little power spike in favor of Ezreal, picking up the Sheen and the tier. This is really what you want to get on your first back. And Ashe just came back to win with the boots and the dagger, so it's going to be a very strong power differential until Ashe is able to pick up some more items.
Yeah, I think in this lane at this point, you just don't fight, you try to whittle them down with Ashe W's, and try not to die. Ashe is really, really squishy and immobile, so if the Nautilus gets to hook, it's all up to the Thresh to save her out of it.
Yep.
And here we see the skirmishing in the top lane, going the way we thought it was gonna go, with Lilia bullying the Ornn.
Yep, and just not much he can really do about it. Just the HP damage does so much against him, like you mentioned, and Lilia picking up the Lucidity boots as well means she's going to be able to spam that Q pretty much off cooldown and just abuse him, as Viego is going to be here in the spot side and already starting up the dragon.
Yeah, bot lane backed, so it was a perfect time for him to take the dragon. There's nothing they can do about it at this point. And it looks like they're freezing the bot lane wave. I can't see it, but like, no, maybe not.
No,
Oh
looks
wait,
like,
they are.
yeah, they're going to freeze in front of the tower, and this spells disaster for the likes of JJT. It's going to be so difficult for them to push up and farm this wave. With the Nautilus having the advantage, he's going to have the XP advantage as well, so when he hits 6, it's just going to be near impossible. And the vision advantage in favor of ABD with their jungler hovering means this is almost likely going to be a very likely 2v2 kill for ABD, as Nautilus is walking forward. He's going to look on top of the Ashe. The Ashe has the flash, but doesn't want to use it, as she actually flashes away from the lantern and walks back into harm and then flashes away. Interesting play as ABD continues to go forward. Who here flashes is not going to be able to get out of safety, or get to safety, excuse me, as Viego is going to pick up that kill, and it's a nice little advantage for ABD.
This bot lane is looking very bad for JJT right now. They're losing to a champion that doesn't fall off later. As we see a skirmish in the mid lane where the Cassidy is doing well. It's not losing a whole lot on the fight.
Yeah, and Cassidy here, like, this is the dream scenario for him. Like, sure, he's getting poked out, and he's going to have to reset here soon, but he does have the TP available, has the fleet footwork to keep him in lane, as we could see potentially a gank coming in the top lane. Warwick is pinging, but decides against it, as Ornn here is getting low as well, but Cassidy pretty much has the dream situation where he's not going to get pushed out of lane very effectively. He is going to be able to free farm, and he is, you know, dropping down a little bit of CS, but it doesn't matter too much, as Kawhi here is potentially looking to make a play there, holding out for very long, as Asher gets caught emoting, and this is just going to spell death for her, as Dilly arcane shifts forward, gets the one, we can see, gets the poke down on top of who, as speaking of kills, oh, just kidding, Cassidy there making good use of his ultimate in order to get away from that LeBlanc, and it's going to mean just straight advantages for ABD across the board.
Yeah, and it seems like it's the common theme going through the JJT games where when there are losing lanes, the jungler is very AFK in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate as Warwick here is not really the champion you just kind of want to AFK farm. He's not going to be able to come out of the jungle and just 1v9 a fight by himself. He really needs to get inside one of these lanes and make something happen.
And even with that Tiamat, I don't think he's gonna out poke or out farm the
Viego.
the Viego. Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, he is here on this bot scuttle, is going to aggro it up, but unfortunately for him, he is on vision. Looks like he's going to decide to go against it, even though he does have the mid priority. Oh, just kidding, he is going to decide to go for it now. As Viego is passing bot side as well, could potentially see a fight around this, as LeBlanc is just recalling it in the bush just to make sure that Warwick has a safe time taking it.
This is very scary for Penelope, as he is very low, even though he's a Kassadin. Using the ult to clear the wave as well, when the LeBlanc easily could have flash W'd and killed him, but gets away with it.
Yeah, and nice for him, you know, Cassidy coming back with that Kindle Gem and the 2 Amp Tomes does mean a very strong start for him. Was even able to pick up the tier earlier as well, which means he is going to just be scaling pretty effectively. He is sitting at the level 8 mark, so already halfway to that level 16 power spike. And JJT really need to start making plays around the map to start catching up back in this gold, because if not, they're just going to get outscaled.
There's not enough movement from the mid lane and the jungle. Bot lane is losing 2v2s, and they need help. And LeBlanc is a perfect champion to roam with, but it's not happening, and Warwick is not doing anything either. So it's very hard for this bot lane to come back into this game at this point.
Yep, as Nautilus here is looking at top of this, Ash is able to pick her up. It does not look like we're going to go any forward, as Penelope here, or excuse me, Poseidon, is going to go right on top of this Warwick, just kill him out as he's taking his rafters. And that's going to be another kill going the way of ABD, as the sleep comes out from Brave and the flash comes out from Ornn. The hook goes wide from Nautilus as well, and you know, some things are going the ways of JJT, but they really don't have anything that's putting them on the board, as the hook will go wide from Who. Unfortunate play there. And LeBlanc here not even really able to trade effectively into this Cassidy anymore. You can see these long extended trades, Cassidy getting the better of her. And it's really starting to, I mean, JJT are going to start seeing the writing on the wall here soon, as they really need to make something happen to amend this awful situation.
Yeah, they picked a comp where they have to play early, or at least the mid lane and the jungle where they have to play early, and they're not doing it. So it's not looking well for them. It's obviously not over. They can always get good team fights, but from where I'm sitting, it's not looking good.
Oh,
And
as the
ABD is
TP,
oh,
he TPs as the Rift Herald is being channeled. We can see a potential 2v2 come out here as Zed goes forward. Cassie Yornhorn, Rave will nicely flash out of it. It's gonna mean he's gonna get out of there. Unfortunately for him, he did not get the turret plate gold, I believe, but Poseidon was able to pick it up, and that is going to keep snowballing him as he's sitting in this bush looking for this Warwick. Says, I 1v1'd once, I can do it again, as Warwick here wants this fight, is able to cast the ultimate on top of Poseidon, but Poseidon just healing too much.
as the TP's coming in.
Oh no, the TP from Rave coming in, and Cassidy is here as well before LeBlanc. Is just going to spell disaster for JJT if they continue to fight, but smartly realizing that, disengage, and that is going to mean that, you know, overall, I think JJT won on that just based off of the prio that they were able to get, but it is truly unfortunate they weren't able to get anything more out of it.
Well, I think ABD is just happy with getting those ults out, because this means that the Ornn can't do anything, and the Warwick can do anything if they go for this next dragon. As we can see, they have bot lane prio, so if they want to try and get this dragon, they can do so at their discretion.
Yeah, it's definitely completely on their side of when they want to do it. You know, they were able to pick up the first Mountain Dragon, the second one being Infernal. Doesn't mean that it's going to be an Ocean or a Cloud Soul, and Ocean Soul on ABD will mean pretty much game over for JJT, so they're hoping as much as they can that it will be that Cloud Soul, as Cassidy here, still taking nice little trades, is going to get the better of him that time. But with the scaling advantage that he does have, as this game goes longer, he's going to have a much easier time in this lane.
And the farm difference is climbing. Bot lane farm difference at almost 30. Mid lane is catching up. As we see skirmish in the river where the Viego gets on the Warwick and the Nautilus hook hits and they just kill him.
As,
Now they're free to take Dragon without getting contested.
Yeah, and they knew Ash and Thrush was backing. I'm not sure why Warwick was in the river there. It's just a little bit of a mispositioning that is going to cost him his life, and it's going to cost his team the Dragon.
Indeed, it seems like they're not playing as a team, even though the bot lane should not have backed. When they do, the Warwick should recognize that he can't do anything about the Dragon or be in the river because he has no prio whatsoever, and
Yeah.
he pays for not respecting the prio that he doesn't have.
And it's unfortunate enough as Billy and Kawhi here are again here in this bot lane, potentially looking to make a play on top of this Ashe and Thresh once again, as the wave is going to come through. Surely they won't fall for this twice, as they are going to ward it out. Smart play from them. The hook lands out on Kawhi. Not sure they can kill him, but they get a nice little poke out on top of him. That's going to be very nice for JJT. Hopefully they can make something happen with that, but we'll have to see how it goes as LeBlanc here continues to trade with this Cassidy. It's going to get chunked out as, oh, nice little solo kill there for LeBlanc. Unfortunately enough for him, it is just 10 minutes too late, as Cassidy here is already fine enough, scaling pretty safely. It's going to be a nice little chunk in the form of LeBlanc, and it's going to put one kill on the board for JJT, but some might say it's too little too late.
So Cassidy picks up his Everfrosts, which will be good to either get out of a fight with the LeBlanc or to catch off the either squishy members of JJT.
Yeah, and you can see that's just straight suppression from the Thresh, as the death sentence does land on top of Ezreal, but you don't have the damage or the ability to punish that Ezreal, so it's just a nice little 100 damage Q poke. You might as well be playing Xerath at that point, as Thresh here really doesn't have a lot of agency, has been stuck in lane, and hasn't really been able to roam to the other lanes and make something happen. So we'll have to see what they're looking to do as the game continues to go longer. The gold diff sitting at around 4.5k, somewhere around there. As the Nautilus hook comes out, gets on top of the Thresh, the Ezreal ultimate comes across. Thresh here, absolutely chunked, is going to hook on top of this Ezreal, send him up for a little bit. The ignites get traded out. Warwick is here, doesn't want to decide if he wants to do his Krugs or come. LeBlanc gets a nice little shutdown. We could see her get this extra kill as well, and that is very nice for JJT. 3 kills on this LeBlanc now. Starting to not look so bleak, as unfortunately enough for him, Poseidon did end up going into that mid lane and helping Cassidy push out the lane. So he's going to get denied a little bit of CS, but I don't think anyone is complaining about that when you were able to get 2 kills in the bot lane. As Poseidon says this fight isn't over, he's going to continue to chase for this Warwick. Uses the ultimate. Warwick uses his ultimate as well, but tried to get out, wasn't able to. The flashes come out from both sides as Cassidy is here as well. It's a nice little solo kill for Poseidon. As, oh no, he spots the Ashe alone under her turret. He could want this. Casts the E for the damage mitigation. Ashe flashes away too late. Still takes damage from the ultimate. And Poseidon could potentially die here. He will get taken out. The shutdown going the way of Ashe. But a little bit of an interesting play from Poseidon. Maybe wanted to ego a little bit, pulling a Tarim impression. And that will mean that the kill goes the way of Ashe.
Yeah, now they opened up the top side of the map, and if the Warwick didn't feel safe in his jungle before, he's definitely not going to feel safe now, as there is no tower to play behind top side. And as we saw there, the Viego can go into the jungle and kill the Warwick whenever he wants. So they're going to have to get some vision out, try to keep away from fighting the Viego.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of vision as well, you can see on the top side of the map, the Ornhorn is coming out. Hold that thought, it is going to completely miss, never mind. As the vision is coming out in favor of ABD, as I was saying, the pinks coming around the map, the vision coming out, they're going to track Warwick and give Poseidon the ability to just kill him wherever he goes, as his bot tower sitting on a sliver of HP is just going to go down to this next minion wave, with the only tier 1 remaining being in the mid lane.
Yeah, and it's so interesting when you look at the map, like look how dark it is in the ABD jungle and look how light it is in the JJT jungle. That's how you understand where both teams stand at the moment.
Yep, and you can see with the dragon spawning in a minute, ABD are putting even more pressure on top of this vision, making sure that it is in their favor. As
Looks like the Warwick is trying to do the heralds.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
mean,
see, but
yeah, it looks like he is going to just straight hop right on top of it, so it is interesting for him. We'll have to see, how it works out for him as he does get on top of it, and it looks like he's unspotted, so he's gonna be able to get that herald and have enough time to potentially come down for the dragon. But most likely it's just a trade play as Thresh here is walking really far forward. A little bit interesting as he is gonna take a nice little pump, get hooked up, and that is mean he is going to immediately die as the Ash arrow comes out. Oh, LeBlanc, I assume she didn't have cooldowns because that was just the freest kill ever on Cassidy, but Cassidy saved by LeBlanc cooldowns. It's going to mean that he is pushed out of the fight, but the dragon is here, and ABD are just sitting inside the bush, maybe content to just...
They're going to go for the mid turret.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're behind, this is what you want to do. You want to do plays around the map away from the enemy team, try and catch the gold back up in your favor, because even though you take the dragon as ABD, it's not worth a whole lot of gold, as JJT here will take this mid tower and get a lot of gold that way, trying to even the gold lead back up. As Rave is here, though, going to catch up this Ashe. Ashe, no flash, is going to get slapped up, and that is almost certainly going to mean her death as the flash misses. And that's just a nice kill for ABD, continuing to snowball their lead.
Diego's on a hunt.
Yeah, and we can see here, Diego absolutely just does not want this Warwick to play the game. As LeBlanc is here, though, this is a nice little 2v1 until Cassidy gets here. We see the damage coming out. Warwick gets a nice kill. It's a 3v1. They should not be backing away from this Cassidy. As the TP comes out as well, that is in favor of Rave. You see two members here. Is a 2v2. Looks like the Ornhorn did go on top of Rave. Cassidy here wants this fight, though. Rave a little bit slow to respond. Ornn is going to get slowed up. He should be able to just get out for free, and it looks like he will be able to do so as Thresh comes in to guide their escape.
Yeah, it was a very hectic fight. The Viego's hunting the Warwick in the jungle, but for once he found more than one person, so he ended up dying. And then the TP top lane probably saved the Cassidy, even though I don't think he would have died either way because Cassidy.
Yeah.
And it ends up just ending at a 1-0. No, 1-for-1. Warwick died.
Yeah, and we do have like a little bit of an interesting build here from LeBlanc, opting to go more for the utility with the Lucidity Boots and the Morellonomicon already finished. Usually you see people kind of sit on that Oblivion Orb just for the straight debuff and not really finish the Morello until later, focusing for more damage. And you usually see the magic penetration boots as well. So
I think she wouldn't have gone for the damage here, as LeBlanc is the only strong member on the team, so the LeBlanc should not have to be the one building utility here. She should be the one building straight damage, trying to get these picks, trying to get these kills before objectives.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see, as speaking of objectives, ABD is here death bushing, looking to invade. We can see members have called out Warwick here, way too slow to respond, can't decide which way to go, and that is ultimately going to mean his death as the lantern is thrown out, but it is way too late. And that does mean that the jungler is going to go down. Rave gets hooked up and flayed into the turret, but not too much going that way, but that should be a free Baron for ABD.
I don't really know what happened there, where the Warwick was going or what he was trying to do, but I guess he just scurried back and forth, didn't know which way he wanted to leave, and in the end of it, he was too late, and they caught him out.
And additionally, he had the flash available as well, so worst case, he just flash over the wall and try and get away that way, but it looks like Warwick just not too sure about what's going on. And we see the Ornhorn coming out, a little bit of a token attempt here from JJT, looking to potentially one-shot Dilly. It does go wide, he's going to be able to survive for now. The Baron does go the way of ABD as the TP is coming out as well. Cassidy joining the fight now, and Penelope is able to just get in this fight and cause havoc as LeBlanc was able to pick up one kill. But that's the only kill that JJT are able to get, as 3 kills go the way of ABD.
Yeah, kind of a Hail Mary, trying to save it from getting the Baron, but at that point, when your jungler is dead, there's not much you can do. They get 1 kill out of it, but then they lose 3 members, and now they are at a 3-member deficit with the Baron push raining down on their base.
Yeah, and with this Baron available, ABD doesn't have too terribly good siege composition, and pretty much their only way to touch the tower if it is contested is that Ezreal. But just being so far ahead does mean that they're going to have pretty much free reign over this tower. As Ezreal does get hooked up, we could see him get killed here, and a nice little punish from JJT, still showing signs of life. This is, They are still 9k gold down, but a couple of these plays back to back could mean their way to get back in. As speaking of getting back in, LeBlanc is TPing into the red side jungle. They're looking to go down for someone. It looks like it's not the Cassin that's just going to walk right past him, and it looks like they're just trying to get Prio on top of this dragon, but it's spawning in a minute. What a bit of a questionable TP, as Kawhi here is potentially going to get caught up, but Cassin is going to go here into the back line. It's going to get pushed away. They are trying to pick up Kawhi, but it is just the support. It's not really who you want to be bursting, as the rest of the ABD is coming around to collapse on top of JJT. Warwick using the flash now is going to get slept up and is ultimately going to go down as the own horn comes way too late. We see the members of JJT just dropping like flies as 3 go down, no one going down from ABD. The tree shot barrage comes, goes wide, but that is almost certainly going to mean the end, as ABD could push down mid. Looks like they're still deciding what they want to do, as they're using the Ornn upgrade in the Viego passive. Nice little niche interaction you don't really see too much, but that is going to mean that, I saw the animation come out, but I don't see the upgrade. It looks like...
Maybe it ran out too fast.
Yeah, it looks like it ran out too
Probably
fast, but I think you are able, if you take control of Ornn, to upgrade another member's item. You just have to do it
Unless
very
they've changed it,
quickly.
you're supposed to be able to do it. You're right.
Yeah, so unfortunately just a little bit too slow on that, but nice knowledge of it to still try and go for it, as they are going to take the soul. And now with their Baron running out very shortly, it's going to be interesting to see how they're looking to close out this game. You know, top and bot tier 2 still available, and the mid inhib is only protected by the inhibitor tower, so we'll have to see how they look to close this game out.
I guess they were lucky with the dragons because it is not Ocean Drake, and Ocean Drake would spell disaster for them, but...
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting chase here from JJT. I still respect the fact that they're trying to go for plays and make things happen. And Ornn here making a clinical mistake where you're not really going to be able to push or farm this wave if you do push it out. I do think it is pretty preferable to just freeze the wave in front of your tower there and just have it push back into you repeatedly. And it's going to mean that we're starting to see these side lanes start dying in favor of JJT. They're not really going to be able to touch these, as Viego is here caught in. He is 1v4 alone, but Nautilus and Ezreal are here. They are going to stun him up. They're going to get the Ezreal. Oh no, they're not going to get the Ezreal. CD Thresh is going to get cut out, as Viego is here, just in here taking bodies, absolutely not dying. And Ashe here flashes in place. Interesting flash, as she is going to get, just barely missed the hook, as they want this Ashe but decide against it. Go for this mid tower. Looks like he tried to upgrade it again. I saw the animation finish, but he wasn't able to upgrade, so maybe they took that interaction out. Or maybe it might just be a spectator bug. That could also be it as well, but they're still showing good knowledge of the game and the mechanics, making sure they're able to do so, as they are going to barrel in here towards this inhibitor. LeBlanc and Ashe here doing a token defense, doing all they can, as Ashe here is going to go down to Kassadin immediately, and LeBlanc, living on a sliver of HP, is going to get taken out by the Kassadin as well. And ABD are here on the Nexus towers. The only person left, Thresh and Warwick here trying to defend. As the fear comes out, Poseidon is going to get feared away. But with these towers being gone and Wraith pushing in the bot lane, we could see potentially 2 inhibitors going in favor of ABD. As it looks like they are going to do so. JJT not really able to put up a defense. They should be working on clearing the wave, which they did. As Ezreal Arcane shifts forward, ABD here potentially looking for the end. Looks like they have split priorities. Casting here playing very far back, as they're going to try and poke out the members of JJT, but they do have enough lifesteal for it not to matter too much, as the rest of JJT is starting to respawn. Ashe coming down, LeBlanc in another 5 seconds. Looks like Kassadin is backing, could potentially look to TP as the rest of his team is staying, and I could see ABD trying to force the end right here. We'll have to see how it goes. As Kassadin did back, looks like they're going to decide against the end for now, but taking 2 inhibitors, that is going to give them the opportunity to go for this Baron in 1 minute. As Rave, interestingly enough, TPs to the top lane to help Kassadin push. Not sure Kassadin needed a lot of help with that, but we'll have to see how it goes in that regard, as they are going to be able to...
it's going to be hard for them to stop this push, because bot lane is now pushing in with a big wave, and this wave is absolutely huge.
Yeah,
so,
as the Ashe arrow
comes
comes out, LeBlanc goes in, gets a nice little chunk, but the flash out is going to save her. Ashe gets stunned up. The Ornhorn hitting multiple members, but Kassadin in the back line is just wreaking havoc. As Ashe here goes down, or CZ stays alive, goes down. Now Warwick gets taken out. The hook on the Kassadin too late. He did too much damage. Ornn and LeBlanc going down, Who being the last member, and he's going to get taken out. And it's a nice victory for ABD, going to bring them another win.
Pretty solid performance from ABD, taking over the map early through jungle. And bot lane actually. Bot lane from the first skirmish actually brought this game, brought this bot lane to their heel.
Yeah, and it's definitely a strong performance for ABD to kind of take this and put it in their pocket going into playoffs. You know, with this game, I do believe they only have one more remaining. Or no, this would be their last game, so they're going to finish up at 5-2. So we'll have to see if any other teams can be able to match that record. If I remember correctly, the only team, no,
It's impossible right
yeah,
now, I
it's
think.
impossible. Yep. So ABD firmly finalizing themselves in that third place, no matter what happens. It's a nice little performance for them coming out of the round robin, and it'll be interesting to see if they're going to be able to continue this kind of performance in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you might see them play against each other real soon because if they're third, that means they might play against JJT next.
Yeah, it is definitely possible. As we will be going ahead and moving in the members of ABD. Just for a note, JJT are continuing to play a game versus Damnation after this, so we'll save their interview for after that game. So we'll just be interviewing ABD for this section right now. We're going to go ahead and get them in here.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, indeed. As you know, you guys did have a nice little victory this game. It's going to round you guys up to that 5-2, and I think statistically you guys are kind of locked in that third place. And I got to ask you guys, how do you feel about your finish of the season?
Yay!
It
Let's
feels
go.
glad that we turned it around. Glad that we started playing
The easier
not
teams.
the Akatsuki. Yeah.
As you know, I think a lot of teams would kind of share that sentiment. You guys came into this game. I think a lot of people had you as the favorites come into this game. Was there any scenario in which you guys thought you could lose this game, or did you kind of accept that you would win it as adamantly as you did?
If who turned it into prime med life?
Yeah, who let us win? We even gave him Thresh, and he let us win. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he did let us win.
Like, I tried to TP bot level 4, and I didn't realize I was just dead because, you know, I thought Thresh would be there, but, who MIA, I guess.
I'm surprised they gave us Viego, but I guess they wanted Ornn on both teams.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
couldn't
have
get
to
the upgrades,
ask you.
though.
Yeah, were you guys able to get the upgrades? Because I saw you trying to do
No.
it.
No.
Really?
No, it
They
didn't work.
removed it?
Yeah,
they
removed it.
removed that. I thought it was still a thing. I'm kind of sick.
Yeah, I'm kind of
The
upset
only
about that
reason
as
we
well.
picked Viego.
Yeah, you got baited. You tried to do the animation and it didn't work, and you're like,
Yeah,
wait.
I wanted Ornn upgrades on both teams because we knew number one Ornn was gonna pick the Ornn. So
If you left it open, you knew he's gonna pick it. That's
yeah,
pretty
knew
fair.
he was gonna pick it, so had to pick the champion that could also be Ornn.
And you also had to pick the number one Ornn counter top lane, right?
Absolutely.
We have to shut him down. He's too good.
I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed in you, Rave. Like, where's the 5-man sleep? Like, I didn't see it this game. Where is it? Come on, man.
Everyone was dead. Like I said, everyone died before I even like showed up to the fight, so it's like.
When he
I'm
TP
I'm
bot.
looking forward to seeing it next time.
Yeah, like I TP bot and the guy was already dead. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, this
And
game
then
this game
you-
was over before I could even play the game.
You guys were
Yeah.
splitting in side lanes, and then me, Poseidon, and Kawhi just 3v5 them mid lane.
Yeah.
As you know, speaking of Poseidon, I gotta ask, you know, you had a play where you saw a scared little Ashe stuck under her turret as you had already taken possession of the Warwick. Do you think you're gonna be able to kill her and get out, or was there a misplay that happened, or what was the cause that you died in there?
She flashed my ult.
Oh,
Flash
so
was
just a
broken, you know
disgusting
that.
flash abuser.
They're
Okay.
Yeah,
they're
disgusting
flash,
flash
yeah.
abuser.
Take Flash out of the game, right?
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is that once you start Warwicky and switch back into Viego, the E still goes off.
Oh, it does?
I don't know if she intentionally mean to dodge that, but the ult and the E were gonna go off like basically at the same time, but she flashed both of them.
Oh, that's pretty nice. But speaking of Poseidon as well, you were able to win the MVP vote as well. I believe it was unanimous last time I
Ugh.
checked. So
God,
another
man.
MVP for Poseidon. I feel like you're kind of racking these up like Super Bowl rings. And what do you got to say to
Yeah.
your fans?
My fans know I'm the best jungler in the
No, he
game.
said fan.
My one
Singular.
fan
But you're not
knows
Tarim,
I'm the
hold
best
on.
jungler in the KDL.
You're not Tarim.
No. Tarim dives people and dies. I
So
at
did
least
he.
get the kill.
Wasn't
I
that
at-
what
no,
you
I
did?
at least
Wasn't
get
that
the-
what you
I
did
at
this
least
game?
get the I at least get the kill. He didn't get the kill.
That's. I mean, I guess that's fair. we'll have to see, how things go off in the playoffs. And I gotta ask, going into the playoffs, what is, your top 2 scariest teams going into the playoff section of
I mean,
season
probably
5?
the 2 teams we lost to.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, maybe.
all right,
Maybe.
sweet, simple answer. You know,
Scariest teams
maybe-
are really just us.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's ourselves because we
The
don't
scariest
know.
biggest
enemy is
kryptonite.
yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's an extra 10 minutes in VOD review. We'll
Yep.
have to see, how you guys do in playoffs. You guys were able to finish off the season with a strong performance, so wish you guys the best of luck in your playoffs, and we'll go ahead and get you guys out of here.
Good luck, boys.
Thanks.
love you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
appreciate it.
Love you too.
As I almost moved myself, that was a clinical mistake. As now we'll be going ahead and taking a quick little break as we get loaded into the lobby for Jujutsu Tech versus Dab Nation. We'll have to see how that game forms up, so don't go anywhere. You are watching the KDL.